before you. The only change is a presentation by Dr. John Kirby in regards to the LATA program and the softball team. So we thank you for being here. And that is in addition, I'm putting it under the World Series softball team program. Any other changes or requests? Hearing none, ask for a motion to accept the agenda as it is presented. So moved. Got a motion second. Got a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Welcome. All right, did everybody get the minutes from the last meeting? Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, I ask for a motion that they be accepted as presented. So moved. Second. Somebody. Rob. Got way too quiet. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say so by saying aye. Expenditures are on the table in front of you. I did not see anything to be alarmed about or any problem areas. We're still sitting pretty good and everything seems to be in order to me. That don't mean it's in order, that just means it looks like that to me. You get it. They all come. Is that all of them? Yes. All right. New business. As I said in our beginning, we have a group here with us today, the ladies softball team from Atlanta, South Carolina, and they won the state championship. What an honor, a privilege to have you here representing Dillon County and Atlanta. Dr. Kirby, I'm going to turn it over to you at this time.
Okay. They also won the world championship.
I
got it
written down.
2 years in a row, right, ladies? Yeah. So it's really an extreme honor that these young ladies have accomplished, and the coaches and the families. Got some parents here too. I know they're very proud. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of love for the game. Before I introduce Ms. Morris as their principal, she's here. She's going to tell you about some non-athletic things that they're really good at also. But I want to introduce their coaches here, Davey Johnson. So Davey, I'm going to turn it over to you to let you introduce the girls and say a few words. Okay, I know you're a man of few words. So
I am. First off, we appreciate y'all having us and recognizing us. And these girls, they had, like Dr. Kirby said, they have worked hard, and I'm very proud of them. They've accomplished this 2 years in a row, and this team, they just showed that they didn't let up. We hadn't lost a game in 2 years, so that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. We couldn't have done this also without the support of Dillon County, of the Board of Education, of the County Board, Town of Latta, all the businesses and surrounding businesses, and all the people in Dillon County. You know, it amazes me, the people in Dillon County, of how much they support the youth, and which is our future. So it's very, very impressive. So we'll start over here. This is Michaela Huggy Bear Huggins. You want to stand up? Stand up. There you go. Let's see how far you can hit the ball. We got Samantha Townsend. And this is as quiet as Samantha ever gets.
Mama's here.
We got Madison Griffey. We just call her Griffey. Sierra Lambert. You want to tell them your nickname? What's your nickname? Scooter. Tamara Locklear. She goes by Sweet Tea. We got Jada Horn. We got Maddie Coward. And she's another one that's struggling to be quiet right now. Miss Moore says she doesn't stop talking the whole way over here. We got Maddie Berry. Yeah. We got Ann McIntyre, which her initials are Ham, so we call her Ham. We got Caitlin Johnson. We got Madison Kersey. And we got Erica Roberts.
Congratulations. Well, you got them standing up there. Why don't you young ladies tell these distinguished folks up here, we don't get here and see a lot of good things at these meetings. Sometimes it's usually trying to solve problems. So while we got some real good students here from Dillon County, tell us what you think you're going to be when you grow up, or what your favorite subject is, okay? We'll start right here with Henry Ann. We won't put you on, I'll give you time to think. I know what you want to be, go ahead. What's your favorite subject?
You like them all.
Robotics.
All of them.
Huh? Reading and robotics. What do you think about being when you finish school? A teacher? A nurse?
My favorite subject, I mean, I don't really have one. But if I had to pick one, I would pick math. But I either want to be a brain surgeon or a teacher.
Or a newscaster? Oh, no.
My favorite subject is writing and I want to be a teacher.
Okay.
My favorite subject is math and I want to be a reading and business.
Okay.
My favorite subject is science and I want to be a college. My favorite subject is science and I want to be a teacher.
All right.
I don't have a favorite. I'm not really good at all of it. I'm just average.
That's good.
So if I had to like really pick, is math, because Miss Martin's a good teacher.
Okay.
And what I would like to be when I grow up is an RN.
Okay. Very good. All right.
My favorite subject is math and I want to be an anesthesia.
Very good.
My favorite subject is social studies and I want to be a teacher.
My favorite subject is math and I want to be an anesthesia.
Okay, great. So about half of these folks will be teachers. We got to get salaries up before they get in the teaching field. Before I turn it over to Ms. Mars to say a few words, we try and inspire these children to be the best they can and not to settle. And always try and go for top shelf. And one of the things we keep telling them is that I really believe in this group of young students here, and some of their classmates are going to be some of the first people going to Mars. And we want them to aspire more than just being on that spaceship going to Mars. We want them to be the leaders, the captains, and driving the spaceship going to Mars. So that's what we're trying to do. And there's no doubt in my mind, these young ladies are emblematic of what we've got going on in schools in Dillon County, of trying to aspire to those leadership positions. Ms. Mars?
I would also like to thank you for having us here today. Obviously, they're successful on the softball field, but they're equally as successful around the school. They're involved in everything from our IB program, our college prep program, our STEM program, our performing arts program. Did any of you try out for Academic Challenge? Good. So we have them involved in everything, and they're great representatives of our school, our community, and our county.
Got a couple parents back here with y'all.
Just proud of us, proud.
Yeah.
We do appreciate you being here. It's good to see the good things going on that we sometimes don't ever hear about. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today, and thank you for all you've done and all your hard work. Well, I know being number one is hard, believe me. So again, we thank you. And keep it up. See you next year. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, many years ago, I coached him in Little League Baseball.
You played?
David stuck with us all the way up.
Yes, sir.
Good ball player, good pitcher.
Have your coaches.
And they wouldn't stay his last year playing
Right.
baseball.
Baseball.
Anybody else?
Just put them in front of you. Put them in front of you. Y'all walk around in front of them.
Good pitcher. Baser.
Yeah, take a picture.
I hate to ask, but can y'all stand up in the back so we can
Yeah,
get y'all
that'd be
pictures? We got a brag board when we go into school, and anything that happens in the community, the kids can bring it in and put on, so we can see y'all's faces.
Yes, y'all stand up. There you go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Sorry, I have to give you more.
That's one of the best investments we ever made. We'll have to remember that next year.
That's right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Dr. Kirby, you ready to make your
Yes,
presentation?
sir. Yes, sir. I'll make it brief. I think you got a copy of the letter there. I'm not going to go over the letter point by point, but you can see from the letter that what's caused this is that years ago, when Ray and I first started, the state was giving us money for buildings, $30 per pupil for building needs to take care of maintenance. And that was a good little bit of money that you could take care of roofs and sidewalks, all those kind of little things that sometimes you couldn't get to that you didn't want to raise the local taxes on. And quite a number of years ago, the state cut that out. They never told us why then, just stopped providing that, said that would be a local issue, 100%. And so over the years, we just have not had building money to take care of what we call deferred maintenance. We take care of roofs, and roofs are costing now, $1 million to do a roof on a building. They don't last but about 15, 20 years. There are sidewalks that are constantly cracking. There's interior walls that need to be maintained.
John,
HVAC.
I hate to stop you, but even now with these cracked sidewalks, we're being sued every time a child falls.
Yeah.
I mean, if they walk across the sidewalk and there's a crack, the child says fall on that.
I can write a book on that problem.
Got a lawsuit.
I got about 800 miles of sidewalks cracking. people follow.
Well, and for that reason, South Carolina School Board Association does provide safety grants, about $10,000–$15,000 that we apply for every year. I'm sure Ray and them apply for them too. And actually, we use that money for sidewalks every year to replace cracked sidewalks and things. But what we've had over the years is we have not had a fund that would take care of deferred maintenance. And as you know, even in your own house, if you defer it and put it off, next year it's going to cost more, and the next year it's going to cost more. And we evidence that when the leaders in the county step forward to go for a 1-cent sales tax. If you remember when we first started that project, 20 years ago maybe, when we started talking about it, we did a survey, and $100 million would have replaced every building in the county at that time if we'd have been able to do it. Well, about 10 years after that, 14 years after that, when we finally got to it, it took $70 million just to replace 2. And it didn't touch the other 8 or 9 buildings in the county. So that tells you the inflation that's there. So it is a situation that, as I referenced in my last paragraph, somehow, some way, somebody, sometimes is going to have to take care of these maintenance issues. It's now, next year, 5 years down the road. Well, we've done everything in our district like Ray's done in his district to get grants, and you can see we've gotten over $6.5 million worth of grants and private funds to take care of some of these needs that we've addressed. And we have reduced our reserve, our cash flow. I'm not going to call it a reserve fund, because when you say reserve, people think that's extra money. It's cash flow. From a business standpoint, you businessmen know, you may call it reserve, but it's there to take care of cash flow, because we don't get our money in at the same time. We get it all during the year, so we got to have cash flow to carry us for 4 or 5 months of all the bills, salaries, everything, before we start to get our first money from the state, from the Fed, and from the local. Okay? So you have to have cash flow. It's not reserve. Well, we have cut that down to the most minimal level that our auditors will accept us to have, to try to address some of these building needs too. So we're not carrying a huge reserve that we can go into anymore to take care of these building needs. So we identified about, as the letter says, about $2.6 million worth of needs we need to have addressed. Everything from safety issues, dealing with school safety, to baseball lights that are 45 years old. As a matter of fact, 2 of them are broken right now from the recent hurricanes. Our insurance carriers came. I tried to see if we could get insurance, and he said they were too old. You know, they were 40+ years old, so there was the depreciation was down to 0. So there was no way the insurance would cover it. They had just gotten old and rotten. So we've got that issue. Can we play baseball without lights? Absolutely. Will we have a lot of folks fuss about it? Absolutely. You know, because early in the season, we don't play baseball in the summertime. We play baseball starting in January and February, and it's still dark. So by the time you get out of school and start a game at 5 o'clock or 4:30, your game's going to run into 7 o'clock, and it's going to be dark by then. So, yes, we have to. Could we play somewhere else? Yes. Dillon would let us use their field. As a matter of fact, we were ready to do that in the playoffs last year, in the state playoffs, as a backup, because we'd lost some of those lights in that last storm. We could make that work. There are other issues with playgrounds and things like that. Now, our focus when we did the 1-cent sales tax was new buildings. And that's what we told the people we needed the most. And we did that at the detriment of addressing deferred maintenance. You know, we didn't include, when they approved the referendum, we can fix the sidewalks, we can fix the baseball field, we can fix the gymnasium, we can fix, you know, these other schools. That referendum was voted on to do those new facilities as it was outlined word for word in the referendum, and that's what we had to follow. And we did not have funds in there. And then when we tried to do a little bit more, when the bids came in a little higher, particularly for our project, then the money that we could have used for deferred maintenance, we had to use to put on the new building, as you know. And one of those issues we're still dealing with today. As I speak today, we're still working on HVAC units 4 years later on a brand new building that's we're still finding some of them not being wired up properly. And I told you a figure that we've got in there, how much we spent almost $150,000 just trying to repair those units that were brand new. I have a breakdown of everything that I've got those totals from. I'm not going to bore you with that. But my point was that it's my duty as superintendent to bring these needs up to my local school board. I did. We discussed them. We have no other alternatives to try and seek funding for this. We've gotten all the grants we can get. We've used as much of our cash flow as we can and feel safe that we can still operate. So, you know, the next place is that Dillon County School Board owns the buildings, okay? And so this need is now, unlucky or not, you own them. So I'm coming to the owners of the building saying, we as the users of the building have done everything we can to try and do this, okay? So what I'm asking for in this letter is a plan so we can move forward, so we know what we're dealing and we can start dealing with these things. Can we get something done today? No. In the process of doing this stuff, it takes months and months and years just to get plans out there and get things fixed. But we've got to start taking some action and not just talking about it very soon. I gave you 4 scenarios you could look at. You could help us cut back on general operating money, which would free up my operating money. For example, paying our insurance that I pay on your buildings. As an example, okay, kind of. You know, so you have some justification to look at those kind of things of, you know, is this on your side of the table or our side of the table, things like that. The other way is you know, obviously there's taxes, you know, and that's the only way locally we can take care of it. We're trying everything we can to go after some of this state money that they put up for districts, you know, but right now we're not in a position to meet the criteria to get some of that $38 million that the State Department has, that Barnwell and a few of those other districts are going for. So the other option, of course, then, if we can't reduce some of our operating costs, so we can take that operating budget and include some building money in there to do that, then the other thing is include this deferred maintenance in a plan to move forward with phase 3 or whatever that's going to be. We just need to have some guidance on you know, what we need to do and what's an emergency that needs to be dealt with right now with a little bit of funding until we can get to where it can be taken care of. So, you know, I'm not looking for an answer today. I just wanted to bring this to you as information, because as soon I sent a copy of this to Ray, he and I talked, he probably got 3 times as much as this, you know, just for deferred maintenance, not building replacement, but just to maintain. For example, both of us, right now I'm putting $1 million roof on the high school to save it another 20 years. It's already as old as Dillon. It's already 40, almost 50 years old. So I'm not asking you to replace a high school, and Ray's not, but we've got deferred maintenance, as he mentioned, the bricks cracking and the mortar joints missing. There's doors. There's a whole lot of safety issues we're trying to deal with. We've gotten safety grant money also, so we're scrambling as much as we can to do this. I just need to bring this to your attention that I feel like both of us have done everything we can with our local boards to turn over every rock, dig up every pot of money that was buried in the past, go after every grant to keep these buildings safe and functioning. And moving forward, we need to have a plan that's going to address this. And for the future, when we're not here, some monies that are coming in to take care of maintenance as it needs to be fixed on a daily and a weekly and a monthly basis, and not defer it for 10 years and then it costs you 10 times as much to take care of it. Okay? So I just bring this to you as information that we have a need, and we're asking for your help to help us figure out how we can get there. I think there are 4 ways, as I said. Look at taxes. You look at reducing our operating costs so we can free up money in our regular budget and address some of these things, then borrow money against that. The other thing is continue to get grants and go after state money. And the 3rd and 4th way is to include this in a bigger project if we're going for new buildings that are phase 3 or 4 or whatever phase it is now that we've been talking about. But we can't talk about it 10 more years. you know, or 4 more years or 3 more years. We gotta, we had either, I think, make the decision, we're gonna go after some replacement of some buildings, or we're not gonna do that, so then we've gotta find the money to repair these buildings and bring them up to speed and safety. So, I'd be glad to ask any question. I think it's all there in the letter on my part, and I'm sure it's pretty much reflective of what Ray's got, just his numbers are gonna be bigger, you know, with more buildings.
How close to the 8% debt limit are we?
I think we talked about it the last meeting. I don't have that. I'll get it.
We need that too.
Yeah.
That's the start.
What's his name in Florence? Ben has all that stuff.
Can you get,
Sure.
Yeah, he
we need that figure to start with?
yeah, that's a starting block. Yeah. Yeah, and then
Sure.
and then look at you know, if there's whatever's left over from this last project, if there's even a little bit of money there that, you know, and analyze with the 1 cent sales tax. If it's coming in good, then is there some way we can take a piece of that and you know, and not pay off that loan sooner, but use it too, you know.
Sales tax fund, and there's $7.1 million sitting in that fund, and I'm sure that we can reduce and use at least $1 million of that.
Well, I'm thinking, and that could be part of it if we get a plan to prioritize the safety needs, you know, because that's on everybody's need, you know, safety, whether it's a construction safety issue, something falling in, or some school safety from school violence kind of things that we're all having to deal with too. So, you know, those kind
We just finished a very scary scenario with school
Yes.
safety.
Yes.
Thank God everybody addressed it correctly. Put it to bed, because it don't take a moment.
No, and it brought it home. We always kind of say in the back of your mind, not here, not that time. That was here.
And it was, the clientele that did it was different than what we would have projected it would be.
True.
In every respect.
So the other thing I wanted to let you know too, that Ray and I have talked about too, and you've heard this before, is the salary discrepancy. You know, not only do we have building needs, but we've got salary discrepancies. Horry County pays between $7,000 and $9,000 more a year for their teachers, okay? And they have been taking a lot of our teachers in the past, more probably from Ray than from me, but I've lost a few. But my nemesis, more than it is Ray's, but Ray's has got a little bit, is now Florence. We used to kind of be close to Florence, and it wasn't that significant of a difference for somebody to drive there. But both he and I, but particularly I, have a lot of teachers that come from Florence. And now with everyone seeing shortages in the state, teachers are being recruited heavily. And they have been recruited to Florence. There's about a $4,000 difference in salary now. It used to be about $1,000, but now it's $4,000. And I can tell you that the ideal teacher that you like to have in a school system is one with about 10 to 15 years experience, who's at a medium salary with plenty of experience and knows what they're doing, okay? They don't draw the high salary of someone with 28 or 30 years, and they've got more experience than someone at $30,000 with 0 years experience. But the flip side of that is that bulk of teachers right in the middle there with 10 to 15 years experience are also the teachers that are having their own personal children start to go to college. And when you have one starting to go to college and you're looking at $30,000 a year or $25,000 a year or just $3,000 or $4,000 to go to technical school, an extra $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a year makes a difference. And so I'm being attacked with my solid base of those experienced teachers that have been with us for a long time, that I want to stay with us to finish their career, but they're looking at college costs, and they also realize that $4,000 or $5,000 a year is going to add to their retirement fund in 15 years when they get ready to retire. Now we do $1,000 above the state level, and that comes with Christmas bonus. One of the things that we've tried to use, a lot of districts are doing sign-in bonuses now. The state has restricted our hands in when we can sign teachers and